Hey y'all, welcome to Select Arcane, and welcome to the 5th installment of the Globe Trotter Model Horse Show series. In this series we're traveling to every NAMSA region in North America, as well as every country in the world that hosts model horse shows, comparing, contrasting, and seeing how each show is different and unique. So grab your passport, let's go, we're off to Region 7. Eric is joining me on this 11.5-hour journey, which is great because we're going right to the bottom of the region. Region 7 is long and skinny, with Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee being the only states represented. By both size and population, it's a pretty small region. But it has something that makes it very, very special. It's the home of Breyerfest. Last year when I posted my Resident Renaissance video, everyone kind of assumed it was a Globe Trotter episode because I was already in Kentucky. But no, that's what makes Region 7 really unique. Everyone from around the world descends down for 1 week a year. And it's not a true representation of what the region is. So instead, repping for Region 7 is Big Orange Bash in Knoxville, Tennessee. Traffic was so heavy that our 11.5 hours turned into more like 13.5. But we already pre-planned to have dinner in Lexington, Kentucky because number 1, it was en route, and number 2, we knew of some very, very good places. Clarion! Clarion! Clarion!
Yes, I know.
We jumped into our fancy clothes at some gas station and got dinner at our usual Carson's. And it was just the push we needed for the extra 3 hours to Knoxville. It was just past 1 a.m. when we arrived, and we were so tired we just passed out. We left on a Wednesday, and Thursday was our only day to explore the city. Neither of us had ever been to Knoxville before, or Tennessee for that matter, so we wanted to get as much in as possible. Eric found one of the highest rated brunch places in the area in Rocky Hill, Scrambled Jacks. And oh my gosh, it was so good. What is with the South and having just such good food? Highly, highly recommend. We went dress shopping, souvenir shopping, exploring, we got coffee. Knoxville is such a cute little town, like, I expected it to be bigger? I guess, I don't know. In the late afternoon, we left Knoxville for Sevierville. There was one attraction there that we absolutely could not miss. Buc-ee's. As Canadians, we understood the hype, we knew about it. Well, I did. Eric had no idea, I had to educate him. And we were still culture shocked. Needless to say, we loved Buc-ee's. But we had to rush off to Pigeon Forge next because we were meeting a hobbyist who I've only met online to go see a really cool attraction. On our way, we passed by Dollywood and then arrived at the Dolly Parton Stampede. This was recommended to me by Gina in Region 9. Thank you, Gina. This was so genius. We met up with Isabella and it was such a great experience. The show was an open invite to anyone who was going to be attending Big Orange Bash, but nobody else stepped up. But alas, it was a great time nonetheless. We highly recommend it if you're going to be in the Knoxville area to come down and see this show. It really puts medieval times to shame. We said our goodbyes to Isabella and finished the day off with an in-bed paddle tail. And this was only the beginning. We were up early, but not too early to go to the show. And you might notice we have no horses with us. And that's because Big Orange Bash is a 2-day show. OF, custom performance, and a few other things were up, and then the next day would be artist resin, customs, OF performance, etc. We got to the show a little on the later side, partially because Eric had to stop for coffee. And when we arrived, we were greeted with only smiling faces. I felt so naked without my horses, I didn't know what to do with myself. But it was the perfect opportunity to cruise around and get tons of footage. And, of course, to meet our host.
Okay, hi, I'm Carol Tuft. I'm the host of Big Orange Bash Live in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're the longest running model horse show in the state of Tennessee. This is our 20th show. Would have been more, thanks to COVID and the fact that the university that I hosted at the University of Tennessee, that's why it's Big Orange Bash. They remodeled, they tore down the building the old show hall was in, and then we had to wait for them to make a new show hall. So this is our second year in this show hall. We got the idea to start Big Orange Bash ever so long ago. The last model horse show that was regular in the state of Tennessee, that show holder was retiring and decided she didn't want to hold any more shows. And my 4-H group was in the midst of trying to raise money to buy an Anderson rescue sling for the university to use to loan out when horses, there's a lot of sinkholes and gullies and stuff in the area. And we'd have horses get trapped, horses and cattle get trapped, and it was hard to get them out. And so they wanted to get an Anderson rescue sling. And so we said, hey, let's raise money and have a model horse show at the same time. And that's what started the first Big Orange Bash. And the first show raised enough money to put the amount of money that was collected over halfway, and the state of Tennessee had a funds matching program. So as soon as we hit the halfway point, it triggered it, and they bought the sling 2 months later. So we thought that was our big goal, and we thought, okay, this was fun, let's try it again. And 20 shows later, here we are. But we've been nominated to be model. We've had several nominations and made it to the top 5 of National Model Horse Show 2 or 3 times, I think. We've not won it yet, but it's not from a lack of trying. But welcome to Bob in Knoxville, Tennessee, and enjoy our show.
As soon as the show started, I started finding differences that I haven't seen before. There was a fantasy and decorator division where all stones and briars were competing on equal footing. I was very used to stones and briars still being separate in a division like this, so I found this very interesting and it made me do a double take. The show kicked off without a hitch. Similar to Are You Kiddin' Me and some other shows, the day was kind of split in half. Not 100% of the rings were running at the same time, and there was some staggering. It was busy and people were really rushing around to get their models on the table on time, but at the same time, it was a lot more relaxing than something like BVG, where 100% of the rings were running at the same time. I did notice that performance people were specifically sticking to performance because that's what they were doing. That's it. That was their whole day. And that's something I found very common in the states that I've been to so far, that if you're a performance shower, performance is your sole focus.
So my name's Olivia Tierce, and I'm from Region 6. So I'm from Georgia, and I live on the Tennessee-Georgia line, so Big Orange Bash is a pretty close drive. It's about two and a half hours for us. I look forward to Big Orange Bash more than anything else. I love it. I feel like it's one of the closest shows to Briarfest, at least for us around here. And because it's so close to Briarfest, it really can help you get in that mindset, especially as a performance shower. who is usually panicking trying to get close to Briarfest. So I was telling Andrea earlier, because I show performance, the performance here is a little bit different compared to Region 6, so it's much bigger here, and we actually can split the divisions here between OF and Custom, whereas even though we have a lot of strong performance showers in Region 6, we have to combine ours because our classes are kind of small. Our overall class sizes are smaller, so we have to combine OF and Custom Made. So I usually don't get to show my OF horses, so it's so much fun to come here and get to actually bring my entire string and really practice showing my stuff. So that's kind of some differences that I've seen coming from Georgia. So
Olivia wasn't the only one who told me that Bob was the last prep before Briarfest. There were other shows happening around the US on this same weekend, as well as other shows that are coming up later on, but Bob is the last big prep before Briarfest in this area. And for such a big and important show that Bob is, I was very surprised to see a lot of brand new first-time showers attending, or novices who just got into it in the last little while. But what shocked me the most is that those people did not feel overwhelmed by Bob.
Hi, so I'm Taylor Finnegan. I'm from Region 7. I live right here in Knoxville, so this is kind of my home show. I also go to UTK, which is originally how I heard about Bob, but I wasn't really into the whole showing business. I was like very into Briarfest and collecting, but I had never thought of showing until I met my roommate who showed at Bob before it shut down. And then they had to like take a break because they were redoing the venue. And then they started it back up, and I thought, well, my roommate's doing it, so maybe I'll give it a try. And I came here, had the best time of my life. I'm a show girly now. I'll drive like 3, 4, 5 hours for a show. I'm not super like into going more than that, but it's really opened up my horizons to meeting a lot of new collectors. And honestly, compared to other shows, I think it's run really well. We're almost always out of here by the time, we're expected to be out of here. And I've never really had a bad experience at Bob.
Bob had 2 raffles at this show, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. And people were allowed to put in for both days on Saturday. I always try to bring a raffle item for a show I'm attending, so my contribution this time was a free ticket to my own show, September 27th, Grand River Live in Elora, Ontario. The lucky recipient of this prize gets to come to the show for free. There was some really nice stuff in this raffle, including OF Briars, pony pouches, 3D printed cats, dogs, and horses, and so much more. Now, speaking of cats, did you know Bob was feline friendly? Well, neither did I, until I met Marshmallow. He had the extremely important job of being raffle master.
So this is Marshmallow, government name Sir Marshmallow Ray Charles. He is a clinic cat. He says, "Mom is a vet. I am the clinic cat. I am the most important member of the team." Marshy's here because he has seizures, so I keep an eye on him. He's had a few breakthrough ones, even though we're on medication. And I just wanted him with me this time around. This is the second show he's been to, and he has a much bigger playpen this time around. Basically, Marshy is a very good support and therapy animal, and he is a very good cuddler. His job today is raffle master. He is guarding the raffle tickets and providing joy. So Marshy is a year old. He is a male neutered domestic short hair. He came to me at my previous job with very infected, very damaged eyes. So he actually had them surgically removed at 6 weeks of age. And then at 12 weeks of age, he had his first seizure. That's pretty much his backstory. I took him in because the Good Samaritan who brought him in couldn't afford the procedure. So I took him, I did it, and he's been with me for 1.5 years now.
Something else really cool that I noticed was how classes were called and closed. Judges held up cards with different colors, and Ken, the MC, knew exactly what that meant, and he called out warnings, openings, and closings of rings. I've seen a hybridized model of this at Briarfest, where judges hold up their hand or a card, but also have a mic. This is the first time I saw the card system being used as the only way of calling rings. And this is going to sound painfully obvious, but not all shows and regions do this. Poker chips were placed next to performance entries. Green side up meant that the entry was ready for judging, and red side up meant that the shower was not ready yet. The show pack specifically said there would be no lunch served, but Carol lied, and lunch was definitely served. A build-your-own sandwich station was available, as well as copious amounts of snacks. Carol said she didn't want anyone to go hungry, and literally nobody did. This is also one of the rare times that I've seen the show hall being open to bringing in outside food like DoorDash or Uber Eats. I thought that was great. Eric and I both shared a portion of yesterday's Dolly Stampede dinner, a whole Cornish hen shared among us. And basically no other hall that I've been to would have been cool with that. During lunch, there was also an announcement of a prize giveaway for the longest traveled. Gee, I wonder who that was. Look at this absolutely gorgeous wind chime. It actually says Tennessee on it, and I'm definitely going to hang it up in the studio. Also a fun fact, Eric and I were the first foreigners to attend Bob, so that's pretty cool. It's a wind chime. With a little moonshine thing. Oh, isn't that so cute? Oh, Region 7! The show resumed after lunch and everyone got back to work. I obviously wasn't showing, but everybody was so busy around me, it felt like I was. But even through the mad rush, nobody was yelling, nobody was panicking. It was just really serene. The raffle was done silently in the background. The winning ticket was placed with the prize. Kinda similar to how Are You Kidding Me did it, and kinda similar to how Briarfest does it, but a little bit more low-key. I won a resin dog, who I know exactly who it's going to be, and Isabella was the lucky winner of my Grand River Live free ticket. See you soon in Canada, eh?
Hi, I'm Sarah Pavoco. I'm the host of Rainbow Rave Live. I'm from Region 7. I mainly show Original Finish Briar and OF Performance. Also, I run the documentation group on Facebook, and I'm giving a seminar on it this summer at Briarfest. That is kind of my hobby passion project, besides my own personal showing. So this is my first Bob. I've wanted to come here for several years, but Tennessee is at the opposite end of Region 7 from where I'm at. I'm up in the northeast corner of Ohio, so literally like the other direction. I can actually get to Regions 8, 9, 10, and 11 faster than the rest of Region 7. But Bob is really great. It reminds me a little bit of Kitten Me in just the spaciousness, although it's a lot less chaotic than Kitten, which, don't get me wrong, I love Kitten. But it's cool to have a large show that's a little bit more laid back. It's interesting down here because, you know, the Cleveland area up north Region 7 versus southern Region 7 is very different, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad I get to come here and check out, you know, the other half of Region 7 I've never seen before. So I would say it's the top of Region 7 seems more like a melting pot of Regions 7, 8, 9, and 10. Mostly 7, 8, and 9. The vibes are a little more, again, chaotic in a good way, but just I would say people are very, very enthusiastic and passionate up here. Not that people down here aren't, but it's a little more subdued, I almost feel like. Just comparing with Kitten and with Steel City Live and some of the other Ohio shows, yeah, this seems a lot more laid back in a way. Still very competitive, but yeah, that's just kind of I feel like it's just a strange in a good way, melting pot up in northern Region 7. Rainbow Rave. We are in Mesopotamia, Ohio, which is not super near anything. We're about an hour east of Cleveland. We're near Geneva, Ohio, and sort of kind of 45 minutes from Youngstown, an hour from the PA border. We raise money for the Trevor Project. We are usually mid-May. We try to avoid Memorial Day weekend, and everything is rainbows and joy and diversity, and it looks like, a Lisa Frank color scheme, and it's a lot of fun. We have a huge raffle every year. People donate a lot to raise money for a really good cause, and we have a really, really good crew that comes every year along with some newbies, and we're lucky enough to be in a huge show hall, so we've been able to let people bring their own tables, and I think this year we had almost 50 entrants. Unfortunately, people had to drop out at the last minute, but we have room for like 50 entrants, and it's a really, really good time, and we love to welcome newbies, and we just have a blast up there. So if you can check it out, definitely give us a try.
It was heading up on around 7 p.m. at this point, and the championships started to get called. Something I didn't mention earlier is that Bob was doing sectionals for pretty much everything, meaning that like-minded groups were being shown together, like drafts against drafts, ponies against ponies. Those subgroups had sectional championships, and then all together those first and second places fought for the overall championships. People were so delighted to be winning their championships. A lot of people had first-time championships, and there were definitely a few happy tears. People had been trickling out of the show hall since lunch because that's kind of when performance ended, so therefore a lot of showers were done showing for the day. But we stayed right up until the end because we're here for you guys. The show concluded about 8, and that's when we started making dinner plans. Pat Hefty's daughter recommended that we go to Hardwood Barbecue, because we're in Tennessee, we need barbecue, right? But there was a mutiny in the show hall, and everybody said, no, you have to go to Calhoun's. So Eric, Isabella, and Taylor and I packed up and went over to Calhoun's Barbecue. On the river, of course. We were all so tired, but the food was really good. We got to hear about the college football lore, of course. And then we parted ways, and we were done. When Eric and I got back to the hotel, I realized that for the 3rd show in a row, I forgot my class list, so we got that printed off, and we passed out. We were so tired.
Hey, what can I do for you?
Hi, can I get a ham and cheese Swiss croissant
What else?
and a venti latte with 2 sugars, please?
Y'all probably know by now that I really don't have that big of a show string. Trust me, I'm working on it. So it didn't take that long for me to set up, and I was watching the show tables like a hawk, because I didn't want to miss anything, and I was in the first class. Custom trad, artist resin trad. Custom trad, artist resin trad. Okay. Back home, we always start with Arabian. I don't know why, that's just how it always has been. But here we were starting with Thoroughbred, which totally threw me for a loop. And with Artist Resin Large and Artist Resin Mini running at the exact same time, side by side, I was focused. So you will notice throughout the day, I don't have that much footage. But there's a lot of footage of me because Eric took up that responsibility. So together with Artist Resin Large and Mini, there was also Custom Large and Mini, OF Performance, and China. Now, I need to point out that China was also yesterday, but I didn't get any footage of it because I wanted to talk about it today. China isn't as big here as it was at Are You Kidding Me in Region 9, but Carol said the reason they do have China is because of Christina Lucas Francis and Hagen-Renaker, Tennessee, which is not so far away from here. So even though the China divisions were not huge, it was mostly made up of Hagen-Renekers. And that's something I haven't seen before. I've never seen so many in one place. Meanwhile in Custom Large, Macy and Jordan had a really hard time. Region 7 seems really big on customs. Almost everyone I talked to had at least one. So the custom divisions, both large and small, were very, very competitive. Almost as, or if not the same level of competition as artist resin large. Now, speaking of artist resin, the ribbons and Nan cards were rolling in for me. No matter how many regions I travel to, it always astounds me what different judges look for. In this particular case, a lot of my older resins, the ones that I first got when I started collecting AR, were doing really, really well. And some of my newer pieces that were doing really well in other regions weren't doing so hot today. Judges from different regions look for different things. And judging-wise, there are no surprises in Region 7 from what I could find. It was about as close to Resin Renaissance or BreyerFest Live as you can get from a judge's perspective, which coincidentally is also how Eastern Region 11 feels, on a much smaller scale of course, and also reminded me a lot of Region 3. The performance people brought their all on day 2. OF performance was nuts, nothing was redone, no using the same setups as yesterday. These entries were just wow. Many of these entrants were preparing for BreyerFest, as already mentioned, and for many of them, their first stop before BreyerFest was Nan. Let's just take a moment to appreciate these beautiful, beautiful setups. And then some of them were just off the wall creative. Probably one of the most common things that I saw at Bob, which I haven't really seen anywhere else, and I kind of started talking about it on day 1, was the camaraderie, especially around newer, younger, upcoming showers. But even seasoned veterans who wanted affirmation about their entries, had questions, wanted to improve them. A lot of the judges at Bob were big BreyerFest volunteers, judges at the Breyer sanctioned shows, or in general senior hobbyists who really, really knew what they were talking about. When anyone had a question, judges and fellow showers dropped everything to help out, answer questions, and it was just so great to see. Not only that, parents were extremely involved in their kids' activities. This is something I also witnessed in Region 4 with Sleigh Rally, but so very much needed in other regions. It was so wholesome and nice to see. But in the same vein, another thing that really stuck out to me was the cultivation of the next generation. The modern model horse hobby started in the 1950s, and many of these Gen 1 hobbyists are still going, still hosting shows. But who's taking up the torch for the next generation? At Bob, there were young people who were actively being educated and walked through on what to do when hosting a show. Taylor told me about the huge amount of support that Carol and the rest of the group were providing so that she could host a show in the future. And this is something that's been greatly lacking in other regions, I've noticed. But Region 7 should be seen as the hallmark way of doing things. By the time noon arrived, Carol voiced that we were going to have pizza, making this now the third region I've been to do pizza. It arrived in record time, was super popular, and everyone dug in. With lunch also came the Sunday raffle. My Grand River Live free show ticket was so popular on Saturday that I printed out another one for the Sunday drawing. Coincidentally, Taylor won that one, so therefore, Taylor and Isabella now had to make the harrowing trip up to Canada. Also during lunch was a fun class, specifically for stuffies. And Eric earned a pity participation ribbon as well. And it felt like right after lunch, everyone just tucked in and focused on the show. There were some people who just decided to show on Saturday or Sunday, but there were a lot of us who did the double day. And it is quite exhausting, I must say.
Eyeballs. Oh my god. Oh, stop it.
And we lost a few people along the way. At this point of the day, championships started getting called. And I was surprised with this.
You have your overall champs and reserves for the artisans and traditional section. Champion award is this little white banner.
I was so shocked. This is my second overall championship and the first time it being in workmanship. And Artist Res Enlarged finished pretty much at the end of the day. But since lunch, people had been trickling out of the show hall and heading home. There were so many showers who came from such long distances that it only makes sense to go. But you know who didn't go? Us, because we have footage. The question is, what is the difference between Northern Region 7 and Southern Region 7 where we are?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I've only really shown Bob twice. Because the funny thing about Northern Region 7, especially for us in Northeast Ohio, is it takes us 5 hours to get to Kentucky, which is the next Region 7 state. I can get to Michigan or Indiana, which are Region 8, in 4 hours. I can get to Pennsylvania in a half an hour. I can get to New York in 4 hours, that's Region 10, and I can get to Canada in 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I can get to...
That's what I said yesterday too. I'm like, you're all right there.
I can get to 4 different regions before I can get to a different state in this region.
Yeah.
I don't show a lot down in Southern Region 7 because it's just, there are closer shows.
I've done a couple shows in the past, down in this area before, obviously Bob, Spring Blossom when Katie held it. I'd say honestly they're all pretty similar. I don't think there's any weirdness, how Region 9, some shows want you to put ages on there for full, but how the shows are run and the expectations and stuff, I'd say it's all pretty similar.
I do feel like we're goofier up in Northern Region 7.
But how much of that is just chunk?
Okay, but also us though, because the fact that they called it the Ohio Giggle.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they did say that.
The Pittsburgh crew. I heard an Ohio Giggle, what's going on? Yeah.
I think also it depends on if you're showing with people you know, because it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
One thing about me and Jordan is we're Region 5 implants. So
yes.
We started in
you mean
Texas.
Transplants?
Transplants.
Yep,
you came from Texas, and now you were.
We actually started showing at the same show 6 years apart.
I'm so glad I got an English degree.
That's why I corrected you with my writing degree.
But
I think knowing people at shows definitely makes a difference.
Because I feel like in Region 5, there weren't also a lot of people my age showing. And that's one thing that's really changed since moving up to 7 is I found people my age, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. People who are into things like I am, and that I can actually become friends with and not feel like they're my mom's age.
Yeah.
You know? Hi, Mom.
Sorry, Sheila.
Your show host also plays a big role. If your show host is super chill and awesome, your show's gonna be awesome.
And I think a lot of that is just because Region 7, Region 9, Region 8, in a little bit of Region 6, like, we're all, like, relatively close to each other, like, geographically.
Yeah.
Like,
So true.
So, like, you can go to, like, we host a lot of shows. You can go to a lot of shows, and therefore you're seeing these same people, like, most weekends. Like, I've done 7 shows this year already.
crazy.
Because I'm crazy.
And I think I'm on 6.
Yeah. So, like, you see these same people, so you naturally are making friends with these people because you're spending all of your weekends with them every weekend.
Yeah.
Like, all year.
It has been interesting too to see, because I've been live showing since 2017, and when I first started, there were not many Region 7 shows, at least
It
in our
really
upper
has
half.
exploded.
Like, this was my first Bob, and from everything I've seen, it went so smoothly. I would definitely come, if I can make it work next year, I'll definitely come back.
Carol, Arnold, and Jen are really a dream team of show hosting. Like, Arnold is on it. You guys weren't here for setup, but Arnold's an engineer. So he was literally measuring by
incredible.
the inch to make sure the tables were right where they're supposed to be. Like, they take this show very seriously. There's a lot of care and a lot of love that goes into it.
I love the way they've engineered the table risers too.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome.
And that was so fun because last year they were like, they got new tables in here, so the table risers don't quite work, but it's okay. Arnold figured out how to, like, add these, like, pieces of wood to make the table risers work.
If you have a problem, go to Arnold. He'll figure it out.
And I have never been to a show where I've been so well fed.
Honestly.
Cow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm taking
in the
food home. I
snacks?
was given food to take home. Arnold was like, please take this. And I was like, oh, say less. No, that's so true. They definitely feed you. You don't go hungry.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
They were taking care of us.
Again, because it's Carol and Arnold, and they're like, yeah, we will feed you. That's their love language. They feed people.
That's so true.
As she's over there. We're
Working her
talking
butt
about
off.
you.
Hi, Carol.
It's only good things.
The show got packed up and people started saying their final goodbyes. Raffle Master Marshmallow took a final walkabout around the show hall. And that was it. The hall cleared out, people packed their cars, and some of the Region 7ers invited us out to dinner. Eric and I had never been to Texas Roadhouse, but it is infamous, so we knew about it. And we had a great time. But the real entertainment of the evening was the parking lot chatter. Because we got divided between 2 tables, we couldn't really talk over dinner. So at about 8:30, we started in the parking lot. And we went on and on and on until 9:30. I was reminded of the Midwestern goodbye, introduced to the Southern goodbye, and us as polite Canadians got caught in the middle and couldn't leave. But before 10, Eric managed to pry me away and drag me to the car. We did one final wave out the window and headed back to our hotel. The next morning, we packed up, did one final Buc-ee's run, because why not? Had lunch outside of Lexington, Kentucky, and proceeded on the journey home. So, what are my final thoughts on Region 7 and Bob? You know, I think this is the first time where I've been sad to kind of continue the Globe Trotter series because I want to go back next year for Bob. I can't, obviously, because I have to keep going and keep trekking, and I only have so much time and money. But before the show even finished, Eric and I were already talking about coming back to Knoxville, seeing the sights, doing more activities, and coming back to the show. Region 7 left an impression on us. Everyone was so kind, friendly, helpful, no ulterior motives. Everyone just wants you to have a great time. And I can see why people travel so far to come to Bob, and why this is the 20th running of the show. Big Orange Bash gets my Select Arcane Globe Trotter stamp of approval. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at Select Arcane or on Facebook by the same name. Where are we traveling to next? Well, I've already signed up for 2 shows within the US, one in the north, one in the south, so you'll just have to wait and see. Oh, one more thing before we go. Over the 2 show days, Eric was stalking around with his camera. He took over 700 photos, and those photos are available completely for free on the Big Orange Bash Facebook page. Go check them out, they are absolutely amazing.